I'm just going to give you a quick preview and a taste of what this portal is. Now, a portal is really a door or an entryway, and this is really meant to be an entryway into the world of tide mills. There's an amazing amount of data. So I'll give you a link to this a little bit later. When you open this up, this is where you end up. This is the places module of this. There's three basic parts of this. There's places, events, and people. And at every turn, we've tried to cross-reference people, places, and events so that when you look at a place, you see what happened there and who was involved. You look at an event, you see who was involved and where it took place. And you look at a person, you see what events they were involved in and where those happened. So just a few things. Each of the screens has a little help thing. There's still some work to do on these. We also have our hierarchical menu here. So basically we have countries, and if we look under countries, we have states for the United States, and other places we have provinces and that type of thing. I actually ended up using an ISO standard abbreviations for countries and all of that. And you'll see that in the mill numbers that we have later on. But if I want to say, look at all of France, I just click on that and a map comes up and shows me all the tide mills that we have mapped in France. If I want to show just Brittany, here are all the tide mills that we have mapped in Brittany. David Plunkett and Ewan Sonic had a great inventory of tide mills in Brittany, and I just basically took all of that data and put it in the database and made it searchable and findable. What I'm going to do, we're going to take a look in specifically in Maine. And actually, I'll give you a quick look at. So this is all done with Google Maps API. And this is Thompson's here. And I can click on the satellite and I can zoom right in on that. And right there is one of the millstones, and it's there to this day. But I used to walk back and forth across this when I was a kid, sometimes going to school and sometimes just playing with friends. Let's see, let's go back here. So one of the mills I'm going to highlight here is, actually it was a number of mills that were in Winnegans, Maine. And if I zoom in on that, this kind of gives you a whole view of what the capabilities of this app are. So when you look at this, when you click on the flag on the map, it comes up with this window. It gives me the mill number, and what it is basically US for United States, ME for Maine, and then a number. And all throughout the system, this is that mill site's number. We have the location, which is the municipality it's in, the state or province it's in, the country, latitude and longitude. The region is Winnegans. We keep track of what impound, what the body of water that is impounded by the dam, and that's Winnegans Creek. The site status runs from everything from operational down to no trace. In this case, all we have is a trace. Under description, we've got more information about that mill or mill site. You notice this comes from Wells, page 397. If I back out of there for just a second, we have a bibliography. So as much as possible, anywhere in this description, which is our best documented information on that, we tried to put bibliographic references in there. And in the case of things that we have, either PDFs or doc files, we actually have a link to them. So Wells is Walter Wells, Water Power of Maine. And I click on that. That comes to us from Google Books. And there's 591 pages of it there. Let's get back out of here. We'll go back to Winnegans. And then I have a read more here. And this is a link to another document, another PDF file that goes on for 12 more pages of information. So what we're trying to do is to just accumulate as much of the data as we can about every one of these mills, catalog it, and make it easily available to anyone that wants to research this. Underneath here, we have a number of photographs. So here is a photograph of the bridge and then the long dam. And depending on who you talk to, there were as many as 16 mills on this long dam across Winnegans Creek. We can also link to videos. So this one happens to be on YouTube. And we do this cool little fly-in from outer space so you can see where you're looking at. And there's been some great work done with drone flyovers of a lot of these places. And you'll see that in just a second here. And you can play that either full screen or within the smaller window. We also have research notes. A lot of these research notes came to me through a spreadsheet that was the original database. These are more not as perhaps as well documented as the stuff that's in the description. And then down below here, I have events that took place at this location. So February 26, 1836, the Winnegans Mill Company was incorporated. Here are all the people involved in that. That long dam was built in 1837. There was a fire in 1857. And then they were reincorporated in 1865. And poor old Winslow Morse was killed by heat, August 12, 1896. Again, if I go to the satellite view here, we can zoom in. And here you can see all these crib works along there that that held each of the mills that was built along that dam. Just to give you an idea of the volume of data that we already have in here, we have a statistics button here. It'll always tell you what the latest statistics are. So we have right now 626 mill sites that are cataloged in the system. 393 of them are actually mapped with latitude and longitude. 446 with names. So we've got about 180 of them that we don't really have a name for. Descriptions, status, and sites with events. I go to main, so these are all the ones that are mapped. If I call up the data table, all of the ones without latitude and longitude are the ones that we have cataloged, but not yet definitely located. We also have a full text search. So if I want to just see Winnegans, I just type that in there, and there's my mill at Winnegans. If I click on that, it opens up that same data window that we had when we clicked on it on the map. So events. So there's still a lot of work to do on putting events in here, but we've got first mill at Nendrum. If I click on that, again, tells me the date, 6/19, some description about it. And again, using Google Maps API, it pops me up a little map showing me where it was. And then again, if I want to just search on Winnegans, this shows me just those events that took place at Winnegans. And if I go back and look at the fire that was there, these are the guys that lost their shirts because none of them were insured. And this comes from a report from the city of Bath from 1857. So again, at every turn, again, we want to try to document all this as well as we can. And finally, people. Here we can just search on a name. Some of the more interesting people weren't involved with Winnie Gantz, but we had the Petersons. And I just put in their name, hit that, and all of the Petersons I have. And here we have Captain Levi Peterson. We've got a biographical sketch there. Interesting, they talk about Captain Levi weighed nearly 500 pounds, and two other guys there from Bath each weighed 360. And evidently the city of Bath back then had some pretty large guys in there. But again, we see down here, cross-referencing the people with the events. Captain Levi Peterson was involved as co-builder of Whiskeg, 1798. And then he was also, there was a contract to build both saw and grist mills at Whiskeg, and he was the co-owner, and that was in 1820. I think we've covered pretty much all that is there. That is the link. And if you go there, you will see exactly what I just showed you. And I'm always looking for collaborators in all of this. A lot of people have sent me a lot of great data already. A couple I want to call out in particular, David Allen in England. He sent me some great photos that he himself took at several mill sites there. And Brad Vogel in New York sent me a bunch of data. Tim Richards has sent me data from Cape Cod. And this is an email that you can send data or questions. No, okay. A portal at tidemillinstitute.org. I'm always looking for people that have data that we can put in here. This is a huge effort to put all this in here. So anyone that wants to volunteer to help enter data, if you're into coding at all, this is all done with JavaScript, jQuery, and MySQL. If you're into that, please let me know. And I think that's it.